Welcome to the Wellness on Tap podcast with your host, Dr. Debs Eastwood.
Just give me animals. They vibrate so much better than we do.
Oh.
You know, they take in any kind of treatment so much faster.
Okay.
Because they're not in their head about anything.
So just in case anybody's wondering what the hell we're talking about here, we're talking about the modality of SCENAR, are we not?
Yeah, exactly. Microfrequency,
microcurrent
biofeedback,
frequency.
yes.
Yes, so please explain, ladies. So Danielle and Natalie, welcome. Please explain what SCENAR is.
So, SCENAR is a device that essentially speaks the exact same language as your nervous system. So every millisecond, it sends out an impulse, reads what the body sends back, and then it's adjusting itself intelligently to help guide your body back to normal. It's actually an FDA Class 2 medical device for acute and chronic pain. But truly, the magic behind the device is the fact that it actually speaks to your C fibers of your nervous system. Ooh. And that is the interface from the outside world to the inside world. And most devices completely bypass them. So that is the true magic behind that device.
So other devices then, what sort of things are the ones that don't have the magic?
They're talking at the body and not with the body. This is getting feedback, so your body is responding to the wavelength in its same language, right? Other things are not necessarily the same wavelength, so it's not the same language. But no matter what, you're being affected by wavelengths, microcurrent, sound, whatever the wavelength is, your body still is affected in a way. But this is taking that idea and making it intelligent and conversational. Back and forth.
I like that. So it's removing the language barrier.
Yes.
Exactly.
We don't need the Babel fish. Certain people will understand that reference, others won't.
Exactly.
Or Google Translate in.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Well, and two, a lot of devices, they use a repetitive wave. So they're using either a sine wave or a square wave, right?
Okay.
So it's this repetitive wave. And the interesting thing about the C fibers is there has to be a very particular shape to that wave. And so the shape of the SCENAR device, and there's also an American version, which is called the biomodulator. So those two devices are the only ones in the world that actually peak and stimulate the C fibers because they're so gentle. It's very interesting.
Wow. Wow. So you referenced America.
Yeah.
Can I ask where you lovely ladies have travelled from to be on my podcast today?
We came all the way from California to be on your podcast.
Yes, all the way across the pond to come here.
Yep.
Which is amazing.
And thank you for having us.
Yes.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. I'm delighted. But while you're here, you're also both facilitating training for people that want to learn this amazing modality, aren't you?
Yeah,
so
very excited.
We've built a educational program to teach people to be practitioners of the SCENAR device. And Danielle's trained decades ago, and myself, a good handful of years ago. And being an educator and taken dozens and dozens of courses and all kinds of things, we found something missing in everything that we were learning. And so we've built the course that we would have loved to have as practitioners ourselves.
Because we found essentially a lot of people, basically would teach a protocol, but they wouldn't teach the methodology behind why you're doing that protocol. So, therapists would come and they would have this box of tools to use, but they didn't necessarily know how that tool was created, why it was created, right? And the methodology behind that. So essentially what we did is, because we've done trainings all around the world. And so we took basically the missing pieces and we put them all together so that it's a very clear picture of not just the science behind the device. Actually, it's a very deep dive of the science and the physiology behind the device, but also we're not just teaching therapists protocols, we teach them to think intelligently, to think clinically. Why am I doing this? Why would I choose to do this versus a different protocol? And there's a lot of people out there that are teaching very passively. They teach methods where, just put the device on, we can use gloves, we can, be very just passive. We don't work like that anymore. Mm-hmm. The world is so different from what it was 50, 60 years ago, right? We cannot be passive anymore. Our bodies have so much distraction going on, and there's so much bad information coming at us that we have to be more aggressive in our treatment styles, which is why Natalie and I have such success, clinically with all of the locations that we are at, that our teams are at with, complex diagnoses. Right? And so,
I mean, what you've just described to me about what you guys teach just seems like, well, surely everybody should be doing that. It just seems like the most logical, sensible thing to do. Bravo for bringing it together.
Thank you. It was a lot of work. Hundreds and hundreds of hours.
Yes. And I always tease it's also hundreds and hundreds of sticky notes.
Yes. That's how it started.
That's how it started. Just
hundreds
piles.
of sticky notes.
Yes.
Yeah. Remember this, remember that, do this, do that kind of thing.
Yep.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah. Every subject we wanted to cover, we just wrote it down and we're like, okay, that's our framework. And then we built it out from sticky notes.
Yeah. Wonderful. So going back in time then, why did it attract you? I'll ask you both the same question if that's all right. Why did this modality or holistic health in general, what was it that happened?
Well, I started my journey at 17, 25 years ago. I did health career orientated classes in my last year of high school. And I went straight into a massage therapy program. And from there, that's what I did. I was a massage therapist. I specialized in sports therapy, chiropractic, but I also had a huge passion for like nonprofit organizations and just helping people. And then my career led me to teach at the top college in the US for massage therapy and neuromuscular therapy. And in that, I met Danielle as one of my students in 2019. And after class, she asked me a question about a client. And I looked at her and I said, "You are a brand new massage therapist student. What do you have clients for?" And then she told me. And I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Can you treat my dog? Because I had a pit bull mastiff mix. She was a big girl and she could not move her head or neck. And I tried everything. Acupuncture, obviously massage. She was on a gamut of different medication and it did not touch her. The doctors couldn't give me a straightforward diagnosis either as to why she was in so much pain. And after the first session with SCENAR and Danielle, it was gone. And we probably treated her 6 times total. And then that was it. And I said to her, I'm like, okay, I need to know how to do this. And then from there, I got my training with the Ravenko Academy. And then a couple years later, she's like, hey, do you want to leave your corner office and join me in business? And I never looked back.
Excellent.
Corner office salary job.
Salary, holidays, windows, all the things.
Health insurance, all the things.
And just throw all that security out the window.
I had an infant and a mortgage. And I'm like, all right, let's go left when everyone else is going right. So,
Good for you.
And I don't regret it. Not one single day. I get to travel. I get to teach again. I get to help people in one-on-one. And the universe just, you take that route and you put that energy out there and the universe provides.
Wonderful. I love that. I'm a huge believer in the universe and just being open to receive.
Yes.
Which you clearly were by that huge demonstration of faith and the movement.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember sitting down to that dinner with you and your family. And, I just appreciate that your husband was so supportive. She's got the best husband. He's so supportive. He's just like, you go, honey, And so, yeah, we get to travel the world together and teach. And it's been such a fun journey.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So where did it start for you then, Danielle?
Mine started a little further back. So I had my own health journey, and it started when I was 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So at 2 years old, I was diagnosed with juvenile rheumatoid arthritis.
Ouch.
Yeah. My mom and dad, I was having trouble walking, I guess, and I was limping. I just wasn't able to move properly. And so they kind of started going down that rabbit hole of trying to figure out what's wrong with my kid, right?
Yes, of course.
And so they took me to Stanford, and I got diagnosed by the leading expert at Stanford in California. And basically he said, well, she's either going to grow out of it or she's going to be in a wheelchair for the rest of her life. Great bedside manner, right?
Yeah, that's really helpful.
Yeah. So obviously, spoiler alert, I'm not in a wheelchair, but I did have chronic pain my entire life. And that was my baseline. That was the only thing that I knew. So that was just, that was normal for me. And I still played sports. I was very active. I played basketball, volleyball, softball, soccer, NCAA Division I fencing. I did a lot. But my basically last year of college, and I was studying something completely different. I had these two friends. It was a doctor and nurse couple that were retired. And the nurse had such bad sinus issues that she, went to one of her nurse practitioner friends, and her friend was like, let me just try something on you. And she had a SCENAR device.
Okay.
And so she worked on her for about 15 minutes. Entire lobe cleared, and she was like, what is this thing? And so they ended up actually coming out of retirement and opening a practice just to do SCENAR.
Wild.
Yeah, in California. And they were like, I know that you're doing this other thing, but I feel like you would be really good at this. Would you be interested in maybe working with us? And I had been in a car accident a few years prior. I had tension headaches every single day. Major whiplash, and I had some prior injuries, like with my jaw and things like that kind of amplified what was happening. So I was living on medication for my tension headaches. That was just daily for me at that point. And somebody worked on me, and in about 15, 20 minutes, I could move my neck more than I had in years. My tension headache started going away, and I was like, okay, there's something to this.
I want to know more.
Yeah. So I was like, all right. So I ended up getting trained in the States first. And I trained, at that point in time, trainings were run by the Australians, so SCENAR Health USA. And so I got trained with them. I worked in that private practice for about 7 years. And then I decided, you know what? If I'm going to do this, I want to be the best of the best. And so I went and I wanted to learn straight from the horse's mouth, right? And so I came over here, actually, to the UK, and I trained with the Rivenko family. I redid all of my initial training. I did master classes, more advanced classes, and then I became an assistant instructor with them. And then just kept learning and learning. I started learning all these other frequency modalities, with FSM, Dr. Carolyn McMakin, studied with Dr. Jerry Tennant, all these different rabbit holes, studied energy medicine and bioresonance. And then finally, I was like, you know what? Now I want to go down and do a deep dive on the body. And so I found the most advanced program that I could that would be, doable for me. And so I found the Advanced Neuromuscular Therapy program at the National Holistic Institute, where Natalie was my principal, essentially. And that's how we met.
Yeah.
So I laughed at her joke. We became friends in class. And obviously, after I was no longer a student, of course.
Yes.
And yeah, we've been working together ever since, and definitely would not be where I'm at without her. So very grateful.
I always tease that I talk about how we met more than I talk about how my husband and I
met. She's my work wife. It's very true.
Contractually married.
Yep, pretty much.
In business.
Which is amazing. That's amazing. So can I just take you back a little bit, Danielle? When you said, you had your diagnosis very young and you were struggling walking, did it mainly just affect your lower limbs?
Yeah.
Or was it everywhere?
So when I was little, it was my knees. And I had multiple knee injuries when I was young, just because I had such a weakness there. Like I've dislocated both my knees multiple times. I've had multiple tears in my knees. But what's interesting is actually when I was older, I started losing my vision in my right eye. I almost went completely blind because of uveitis. And I didn't realize that was something that could happen later in life, with a autoimmune disease. And so actually, like these types of therapies, SCENAR was a big part of that. Biomodulator, the beamer, like multiple devices, that was a huge part because I had so much inflammation in my body that needed to be dealt with. Yeah, I literally almost went blind. And so now, and Western Med, their only approach was to give me steroids. So I literally used to have to get shots in my eye. And that kind of held back the dam, a little bit, but it was this that actually helped me. And so now I move better than I did when I was 19, and I'm 38. So yeah, now I'm actually way healthier. I feel so much better. You know, my eye, I have great vision. Aside from I have a cataract from the steroids.
Oh, do you know?
So working on getting rid of that. But other than that, yeah, everything's so much better now.
Which is incredible.
Devices.
And the way you described that with the steroid injections, first of all, injections in your eyes. And my cousin was having to have those for a different reason. She got wet macular degeneration and was having the injections in her eyes. Unfortunately, not with the same level of success, as I'm very pleased to hear that you had. But that's another story. But the way you described it as the steroids holding back the dam.
Yeah.
So treating the symptoms, which I'm sure you were grateful for, but not even bothering to look for the root cause. And that's the difference, isn't it?
That is the difference. Yeah. The body doesn't just turn on itself, you know, and that's something that, you know, because we work with a lot of very compromised patients. And it kills me that Western medicine says, you know, oh, yeah, the body's just, you know, attacking itself, or, oh, yeah, we have no idea why the body's just doing this. You know, it's like the body doesn't just turn on itself for no reason. There's always a reason. If Western medicine tells you, you know, oh, yeah, there's nothing that we can do, I'm sorry, turn over every rock and stone. You know, if they give you a expiration date, which is something that I hate.
Oh, do you know? Yeah.
Especially in the...
Because people can live to that, can't they?
Exactly. Yeah. That's been psychologically proven, right? You know, if they say, oh, you have this much time, I'm sorry, but you are not God.
Exactly.
You don't get to dictate how long somebody has. Right? So.
No. And you'd think practice would have stopped by now, because how many times have they been proven so wrong?
Yep.
Yeah, countless.
Yeah.
Just countless times.
Yeah.
And mindset makes the biggest difference. Yeah. And we tell our clients that every time.
Yeah.
Mindset. If you're like, no, that's not happening, and they disprove their doctors every time when they have that type of mindset, it just changes the whole game. Every cell listens to you.
Yeah.
And so when that happens, then your body's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So SCENAR's really getting in at the root cause level then.
Yeah. So that's the difference. You know, everybody always focuses on the biological and chemical aspect of the body, right? We are these, you know, biological creatures, right? But what drives that? It's the electrical and informational, right? So if you think about your body a little bit differently than what we've been taught, we're kind of like this big, amazingly designed computer. Well, that computer needs to make sure that, number one, all the wiring is intact, right? So have we been, you know, damaged places, you know, scars, surgeries, things like that, root canals, big thing. So is your electricity flowing properly, right? Every single cell operates with its, you know, healthy electrical point. So essentially, you know, it was actually taught for quite a while that cells ran all at 25 millivolts. That's not the case.
No.
You know, no. Every single cell has a different job. And so it has a different healthy charge. But what happens when the cell doesn't have that healthy charge, it doesn't communicate properly, right? Because it's natural language, voltage, and frequency. So truly that's what SCENAR is doing is, number one, it's an electron donor. So it's giving your body that charge, but also it's correcting that software, which is so important nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to pick up on what you just said there again as well with regards to the root canal, because you mentioned about some really compromised patients, and I'd like to explore that a little bit as well, the type of patients. But the whole thing with the root canal, apart from the whole thought of it just making me shudder, what is it specifically? Because I've spoken to people about, you know, holistic dentists who talk about the meridians in the teeth. Is that the sort of thing that we're talking about here?
Part of it, yeah. Every single tooth correlates with, you know, different organ system.
Organ systems, yes. And each section is tied to the meridians. But specifically with the root canals is they're leaving dead tissue behind.
It's the only surgery where they're allowed to do that.
That you can leave dead tissue behind. And if you think that every root in your tooth is tied to your nervous and your circulatory system, and if there's a pocket, even the most minute little pocket left in that root canal, if it's not done completely properly, that's just hosting bacterias and different virus that is then just circulating and then straight to your nervous system and every other type of system, whether it's your circulatory, nervous, electrical. So...
And the problem
Amazing.
is, on typical imaging, you can't see that.
Yeah.
So if, dentists are looking with x-rays or things like that, you can't tell, because the way that you can actually see is with something called a cone beam scan, because you can actually get the bone density reading, so they can see if there's a pocket in there, because you can't see it with your eyes.
No.
Yeah. So people walking around with massive infection in their mouths and have no idea.
Yeah, until it's a full-on abscess, and then they're in an immense amount of pain. And at that point, it is just, it whatever has been in there is starting to go systemic. I mean, you might not necessarily get a systemic infection, but that's not staying here.
Yeah.
That's not staying just in your mouth.
I can't tell you how many times, with patients that we've worked with, where we do the analysis that we do, because we do a specialized analysis that looks at, all these compromised areas of the body. Can't tell you how many times we've found, oh, wow, remember that root canal that you got 30 years ago? It's on the exact same line as all of your health problems right now. How amazing is that?
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Would the same sort of thing happen if somebody's had tooth extractions and it's been a bit clumsy and there's a bit of the root left in?
Yep.
Yeah, any kind of pocket that's left behind, so the cavitations or the root canals, it's all there. Yeah.
Also metal amalgams as well. The especially, like the mercury amalgams, because, they say, oh yeah, it doesn't off gas. No, anytime you're drinking a hot beverage, anytime you're, brushing your teeth, anything like that, it's off gassing.
So would you recommend then, bearing in mind what you've just said about having teeth pulled out, would you recommend people get rid of their mercury fillings?
Safely.
Yes, that's the key word,
safely,
isn't it?
Yeah, here's the thing, because there's a lot of people that, I'm sure you've spoken to a lot too, but there's so many people that I've talked to where we do this evaluation and we're like, oh, so you got your mercury removed. Did they do it it's called the SMART method.
Yeah.
Safe mercury amalgam removal technique, and you are gowned head to toe. You have your own oxygen supply. Like there's no chance.
Full hazmat style.
Full hazmat.
Wow.
And I always ask, did you get it? Like, were you like that? And they're like, no.
The dentist was.
Yeah, the dentist was, but not them. Right. And months later, all of a sudden they have all these health issues. So very important to get it done properly.
Gosh.
Yeah.
And is there sort of like pre-treatment, post-treatment as well as the hazmat at the time?
I mean, I always encourage everybody to work with an integrative, medical professional, because you want to do binders, and things like that. You want to make sure that your system is strong enough to undergo that procedure.
Yeah.
Right?
Can you imagine going in if you're already compromised?
Exactly.
And taking a massive hit like that? That's like me when I'm anaesthetizing people. If somebody comes in and they just have no reserve because of the way they live their life and the comorbidities that they've got, I'm more scared anaesthetizing them than what I would be with somebody, even if they had exactly the same comorbidities, but they made an effort to look after themselves, which, like you said, it's about mindset, isn't it? Some people have decided, well, this is my lot, these are my illnesses. Other people have decided, well, these things are here, but, I want to do this, this, and this, and this, and this, and
do something about it.
I'm much more happy with them, obviously, because they're more likely to bounce back, because having an anaesthetic is an insult on your body, a physiological stress, but then to have surgery is a huge physiological stress, maybe necessary. Do you know what I mean? I'm not knocking it. But yeah, you have to take all that into account. And I'm hearing the sort of similar vibes with what you're talking about. It's amazing, isn't it?
Definitely.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the more we do this, the more we're understanding how that affects daily life. And I have moved away from friendships because they're letting life happen to them and I can't sit by and watch it anymore, versus like, I'm taking it by the reins. I'm in charge of everything. I'm in charge of, my household's the same way. My husband's on that same wavelength. My daughter's on that same wavelength. We do not let that take us over passively. We are in charge. We are in control, and we make the things happen for us. But then even my husband, he's also moving away from friends because we're seeing that shift where people are like, oh, this is the cards I've been dealt. And we're like, that's not how life works. But people don't have that mindset and they can't get out of their own way. And it's really sad.
Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it? And I think a lot of that, if we're going to go really deep here, that starts with like the education system, doesn't it? And it brings in obviously how they were parented, what their whole environment was when they grew up. Oh, and then you could really get me going and say you start chucking in big pharma and the food industry, and it just goes.
I didn't pack my tinfoil hat. We could do that together too one day.
That could be a whole other podcast.
But also, like, don't be a victim of your circumstances. Like, you are in control of your circumstances, and everyone can have the same thing. But then, like, what is your attitude, and how are you taking charge of life?
Yeah. No. You could have somebody with the same exact diagnosis. We've seen it countless times.
So many times.
Same exact diagnosis and 2 different mindsets, 2 different outcomes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, totally. So is there a typical patient that you see, or one patient that is more off, your biggest volume of?
I mean, well, it's kind of changed a lot. Like when I first started, I was doing a lot of sports injuries and things like that, or like chronic pain, things like that, backs, knees, elbows. And then I started at the largest integrative cancer center in North America, ended up becoming a department head there, and then asked Natalie to come work with me, and she became my co-head, and we had an entire department underneath us. And so we ended up working with a lot of oncology patients, thousands and thousands and thousands, over quite a few years. And now, so we continue, we see a lot of oncology patients. We see actually a lot of ALS now as well. Ascent adaptation, where we are at our kind of home base.
Main hub.
Yeah, our main hub, our home base. Kind of got a name for that a little bit, just because of one of our clients who's very, it's public. So Johnny, he's done a lot of videos and everything. He was 32 when he got diagnosed. 33? I think 33. And he has not gotten worse in quite a few years now, and is doing very well. Yeah. And so we have quite a few patients that. And then Natalie and I just established a department, the energetics department, at Helix Sauna Clinics. Yeah. And that's kind of a more different,
Yeah, it's different than we have addressed in that level. We have that facility sees a lot of complex chronic illness. So Lyme, mold, and all those other co-infections that go, Epstein-Barr, Babesia, all of that, where it is your typical Western medical facility doesn't know how to address Lyme and toxic mold infections. And so we've seen that at the clinic we were before, but this is pretty much the majority of their volume here.
Right.
And so the patients there are very cautious because they have MCAS, and so anything can upset that and set it off. So we have to shift our approach because we do not want to upset the balance that they've been, progressing, because any slight backstep is a huge backstep for them sometimes. So we really have to think differently and really put our clinical thinking hats on, because and I love it because it continues to push us as practitioners. I don't want to be sedentary and be like, oh, great, this is our majority of our clients. I know exactly what to do, even though everyone's a little bit different, but we're still trying to address the same thing. So this really pushes us as professionals. And again, the universe is like, you're going to see a lot of this now. You're going to see a lot of that now, and always getting us thinking and just really working hard at seeing what we can do best for all of the patients that we do see.
Because that would be dull, wouldn't it, doing the same thing day in, day out?
Yes.
If I had the same treatment every single hour, 8 hours, 9 hours a day, because I see about 8 or 9 patients a day, I would go nuts.
Yeah.
But, the fact that you can jump from a sports injury to, an oncology patient to a neurological, case to a chronic pain issue. Like it's something different every single hour, and you have to also, that's why we teach, is because you have to know how to address those different cases, right? Because you're not going to get the same exact thing all the time, and you have to approach it differently. So that's where it really comes in. Like you have to know what you're doing if you want to have the best outcome for your client.
That's what we're trying to prep our students who are taking our course is they'll ask like, oh, how do I treat Hashimoto's or how do I treat cancer? You're not treating the condition, you're treating the person. And what systems are we trying to support? Because this is speaking to the body. So what can the body do? Where does it need the amplification? Where does it need that oomph? Because the body will do the job, but sometimes it just kind of gets stuck. So where do we support the systems? We do not teach how to treat X, Y, and Z condition because that's not how it is. And even if we had the same person day to day, they're not going to need the same support.
No,
every
that is
single
very
time.
true. Yeah. Yeah. So when you've got somebody that's more complex clinically, how do you get started with somebody like that? Is it obvious? Or again, I appreciate it's all going to be very individual, but how would you address somebody complex?
I mean, it depends on how they present, right? So if somebody comes in and, I mean, let's just take, one of our cases where, they come in and they are in a very fragile state, but also a very maybe anxious state. I'm going to work with that person much different than I would the person who has maybe that exact same diagnosis, but is cool as a cucumber, right? And so first thing is going to be doing, okay, we're going to approach this very sensitively, right? We're going to do probably some systemic work, get things calmed down, get your body not fighting me, get it in a place where, okay, see, I'm speaking your same language. This is nothing foreign. It's okay. Get them calmed down, get the sympathetic, and parasympathetic balanced, and then we can start to address, right? Versus if somebody comes in, let's say with a sports injury or something like that, I'm going to approach that completely different. I'm going to go for that injury, right? And then maybe work on their system. But it's all about how that person presents. And that's where you have to have the tools to know, oh, okay, priorities, I need to address this first. Then I can start to address this system. Then we can go after this problem, right?
And I think also important is being able to speak about what is going on, educating your client so they have less of an anxiety or a fear about what's going to happen or what can happen. And one of my favorite quotes of all time is accredited to Albert Einstein. I'm sure the internet is going to probably be like, oh, no, it was this. But if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough.
Yes, I've heard that statement before, and I agree entirely too.
And that's what we try to do with our program is getting our students to understand it so they can speak about it. And we have them actually practice, speak about it, explain what's happening. Try that because we want them to be armed to be able to feel confident in explaining exactly what's happening, even in the simplest terms.
Yeah. And also explaining the difference. Because so many people, think frequency is frequency, right? So they're like, oh, this is like a Rife machine. Or, oh, this is like a TENS unit, right? Totally different things.
Right.
And so that's part of what we teach, is understanding this is what this is. This is PEMF, this is photobiomodulation, this is Rife, this is TENS. These are the differences, right? Because you need to understand what you do and you need to understand the entire field. Because it's not about just understanding one device. It's understanding how they all work together because they all have their role.
Of course.
Right?
Yeah.
They all have their role. But you have to understand the whole field, which is why, we created our biofrequency specialist certification, which is basically an entire foundational knowledge of frequency medicine as a whole.
Oh.
And so our students, they get that education as well. It's not just SCENAR. And in the States, we teach biomodulator. It's not just biomodulator. We want our therapists to be incredibly well educated so that when their client asks, well, how is this different from a Rife machine? They can tell them exactly. Right?
Yeah.
That's when you get that.
Got to build up credibility and trust with the individual client, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We want our therapists to be well equipped.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because we need to get people better. It's not competition. People are like, why are you guys doing this? You're creating competition. It's like, no, we're not. There are so many people in this world that need this, that need help. There's plenty to go around, right? And the people who gatekeep information, and out of whatever, whether it's insecurity or whatever it is. No, there's plenty. There's plenty of sick people in this world right now. We need an army. Yes. We need an army. So that's what we're about.
Competent therapists.
Yes.
Yeah.
People that do this work justice. Because if someone gets a treatment and that therapist isn't competent, they're going to be like, oh, that doesn't work for me.
Exactly.
Yep.
And they'll dismiss it completely then. And yet having the correct therapist could well have helped them immensely.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's where, because we've done a lot of trainings, right? When we've had our girls, our team, we've had them do multiple trainings as well.
Not just ours.
Yeah, not just ours, because we want them to see, the differences. And so it's like, that's where you can't just put your hands on somebody, with this device running and expect it to work magic. Like, sure, it's going to be beneficial no matter what, but you need to do it in the best clinical way because then you get the best outcome. And if you don't understand that, and if you're really just treating somebody with, passively like that, you're doing a disservice to your client.
Yes, you are. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, right? This field is not about money. If you are in this field for money, get out and get out now.
Yeah.
Because the people who, and it's funny, you've seen it a lot. I don't know, you guys over here, but we've seen it a lot in the States, especially over the last year. Huge institutions that have been in this field for decades, that when they turned and it was more about money than it was about the patient, they crumble. And we're talking huge institutions, huge names.
They lose the integrity and
yeah, you lose that integrity and you make it about money, you're going to lose everything.
Yeah.
Right. And so I've always said, and I mean, I lived in a garage, like at my brother's house, it was just like, I know that if I do the right service for my client, money will come.
Yes.
Right. You do the right thing, money will come, especially in the energetics field.
Yeah.
It's all about energy.
Yeah, isn't it?
Right. So doing the right thing always.
Yeah. You weren't just living in a garage when I met you. You were also working the night shift while going to school during the day.
Yes, I was. Yeah, I was going to school during the day. I was then treating clients. And then I was working as an overnight security guard at the same time. So I would go to work. I would get up Friday morning. I would go to school. I would get up at like 5. I would go to school. And then I wouldn't get home until about 7 a.m. the next morning to go to sleep. And I was up that entire time. Not healthy. Not healthy, but it's what I had to do.
Sometimes
and I did
you have to do that grind.
Yeah.
To get where you're going.
Exactly.
Oh, you do, don't you?
Thank God I don't have to do that anymore, huh?
You only just fly in and out of countries for a week and work nonstop and then go back home to work.
Yeah, it's fine. That's much better work though. So
it is much more fun.
I mean, it must feel much more productive as well.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know you're building your army, literally, aren't you, by coming over here and training people?
And that's the goal. Yeah. There's something very special about the UK, and I was over here when I was 17. I used to live in Wood Green.
Oh, really?
And so actually Theo Cosmo and I were neighbors. We just found out, we're like, we were in the same neighborhood. How crazy is that? But yeah, so like the UK just has a very special place in my heart. And this is where I did all of my training, after I did my initial training in the States. And I want to do these therapists justice. And, there's not an institution that's doing, in my book, quality training right now. And I think that this is a modality that deserves that. And so that's why we are going to be here 4 times a year.
Brilliant.
Doing training.
Yeah.
Would you like to see it over time that you can train people up to teach your course?
Yes. That is the goal. We want to clone ourselves, basically. Actually, we have a funny saying. We are overcommitted, undercloned. But yes, we want to spread this because if you try to bottleneck something, you try to control it, you're not going to succeed, right? I hope that is my legacy when I leave this planet, that we have created an army of frequency therapists all throughout the world, and that people are getting better, that people don't have to deal with all these chronic diseases, chronic illnesses, and that they have tools that are good for them and not partially killing them.
I want this to not be their last stop. I want this to be their first stop, right? Because so often we have people that are like, oh, I've tried everything. And then they stumble upon what we are doing.
Yeah.
And I want people to be like, oh my gosh, I'm not feeling well, or I have something, or like, I just need to make sure everything's working properly. Let me go get my session. Like people do with massage, like they have their maintenance massage, but they should be really doing their maintenance frequency.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense because it really is about addressing the whole person, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yes, they may well have ABC wrong with them, but it's all within the same piece of skin.
Well, and that's why we work with a lot of, we have a huge network of integrative, doctors and,
Practitioners
of all sorts that we work with because, it's like, it's all just a little piece, so there's nothing that is, all encompassing, one hit. Okay, you're all fixed now, right? You have to look at everything. I can do so much for a person, right? I can help them, but if they're not gonna also do the work at home, maybe, I can help to reactivate, let's just say, an area that hasn't been able to move. But if you don't exercise and rebuild that muscle, like I can't do that for you.
Yeah.
Right. Or, we can do all the biohacking, all of the devices, all of the things. But if you're going to go eat McDonald's, like it's probably not going to be the best.
Yes.
Right. So it's all encompassing. And I always encourage people, of course, you need to address the electrical, you need to address the informational, but also then, you do need to address the biological and chemical. And that's where working with an integrative professional comes in.
Yeah.
Because look at that root cause. Make sure everything's functioning properly. Make sure that you have all of the building blocks for your cells. Make sure that you're taking good supplements, drinking good water, hydrogen water.
Of course.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, it's all a piece. It's all a piece. So we're just one piece. But honestly, I think that the electrical and informational layer of the body, that's the foundation that has to come first. Because if you don't have the energy, nothing else is going to happen.
Yeah, true. Everything's going to be stuck, isn't it? It'd be like sludged up pipes.
Yeah. We have people, they're doing all the IVs, all the medications, all the supplements, all the things, right? And it's not really doing great. Yeah. But when they start incorporating the energetics, when they start addressing their voltage, addressing that frequency, addressing that information of the body, that's when things start to shift.
Yeah.
So huge layer.
Yes. And do you find that you're getting a good reception from both the sort of clinical medics as well as the more integrated?
Now, yeah. Well, it's funny because when I first started, I've been doing this for 16 years now, going on 17 actually soon, which is crazy. When I first started, people were like, what is this woo-woo thing that you're doing? And now everybody is like, oh, frequency, right? We've like, welcome to the club. Finally, you're here. Woo.
Yes.
But I think that's the part that, that I appreciate. Natalie, myself, and our team, we focus so much on is the scientific backing. For me, my whole goal is to bring the science to the energetics field, and speak about it in a way that is scientifically validated.
Yes.
Because so many people talk about, the energy and the frequency no, let's talk about the physiology of it. Let's talk about the science of it and why it's actually effective. Yeah. So I think when you bring that aspect to it, people are like, oh, okay, this is legit. Like, yeah, this isn't woo-woo. This is literally neuroscience. This is how your nervous system works. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's research, there's books. This has been studied for over a century on how it your body is electric and how it heals with that. Western medicine uses it a little bit, but they have not fully embraced or encompassed.
No. And that is my mission, is to take the very best of Western medicine, because there are some good bits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very definitely. We need a lot of the clinical stuff that we've got available to us now, and I'm not saying we should dismiss that. I'm just saying we should bring things like SCENAR, like homeopathy, like hyperbaric oxygen, like intravenous supplements and hydrogen water. It should all be part of the same package and available without any bias or prejudice.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
it's all there's room for everything.
There is room for everybody.
Right?
Yeah.
Western medicine is important in some aspects. Like I really think that there should be acute medicine and chronic medicine. Acute medicine is when, you just got in a car accident and we need to put you back together and do surgery and all. Okay, yeah, that's really important, right? Or you have a major infection that we need to get antibiotics. There's times, absolutely. Yeah. But when you have something chronic, that's where Western medicine tends to not do so great, right? Because they're in symptom management mode and not root cause.
Yes.
Yeah, it's all about root cause.
We're wearing the same hat here.
Absolutely.
Yes. And
tinfoil.
Also
of course.
Yes, the tinfoil. But it's prevention. It's lifestyle. It's how we're doing the things.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's so much that's bombarding us from just as simple as the food we eat.
Yeah.
That is just making people ill.
Yeah.
And making the choices of what am I putting in my body? How am I fueling myself? And I often use the example of like, if you have a very expensive sports car, are you going to put the cheap petrol in it or the expensive petrol in it? Right? So you want to put in your body the same thing. You want to put the quality items in there so it can use it to function. Right? And absolutely. If we start with the basics of how we're fueling ourselves with frequency, with the building blocks of food, we don't have to go down that lane. But also emotions. Emotions play a big part.
Awesome.
And we have not done our society justice of teaching our children how to, stress manage, take that sympathetic off and put ourselves back into parasympathetic. And there has been just this systemic way of just keeping us busy and busy and busy. And I tease everybody, myself included. We add more conveniences to our life, but it's just making us sicker. Because the moment we're like, oh my gosh, I've added 10 minutes to my day because I've done something more convenient. I don't take that 10 minutes for myself and make it better. I take that 10 minutes and I cram something else in there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Yes,
guilty.
Because society's conditioned us, isn't it? To the more you do, the better it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Achieve. No.
And it's breaking us down.
Achieving is great, but you're going to burn out, aren't you? There's going to be nothing left. And what good is that to anybody?
Exactly. It's okay to rest. That's actually good.
It's important.
To rest. Yeah. And that's something like Natalie and I, we're not perfect, by any means, right? None of us are, so
we try our best.
We have to, remind ourselves too, like, hold on. Okay, running 1,000,000 miles an hour. I need to take a day for myself. I'm going to go get my massage. I'm going to go do some therapies. I'm going to do some red light at Ascent, or when I'm over here at Cosmo.
Yes.
At a Cosmo clinic. But yeah, you need to. That's part of doing good for yourself.
It is.
That's part of your job.
It is. And when you said about putting good stuff in, a friend of mine was telling me literally just yesterday that she was looking for Easter eggs for her kids recently. And she's looking at the ingredients because she's conscious of what she eats. And she couldn't find a single one of them that actually had chocolate. It was all oils and emulsifiers. No
crazy?
Chocolate in a chocolate Easter egg. What is the world coming to? I mean, that's a really base level example to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, the fact that you have to hunt for healthy, clean food, right? That you have to read labels so carefully, and every time something starts getting, attention, like an ingredient, they just change the name.
Yes.
So now it's something else. It's the same thing, but now they're just calling it something else. You have to be so careful about what you're putting in your body, And so even with, in the US, my goodness, we have it worse than you guys, know.
Okay.
We have
Yeah,
a lot
more.
less regulation as far as, there's
Lot
so
more
many
things
things.
allowed.
Yeah, so many things that are allowed in our food that you guys don't allow. And so we're super careful about what we, what we put in our bodies. Essentially, you can only do so much, right? Sometimes you have to, when you're traveling, whatever. But general rule of thumb, I feel like, is if it didn't exist 100 years ago, it's probably not a good idea to eat it, right?
Yeah.
So.
Oh, that sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
Right.
Right. Which means beer is on the list because that's been around a long time.
Oh, great. So.
We're safe. We can still have a little fun.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, I've started buying more organic food where I can. I know it's really pricey, but if I'm only just buying for me and not for the whole family, because they no longer live at home, so I can do that now, then it's made it more affordable. And, my youngest, she's with a chap who really loves to cook. And so they cook from fresh, which is far better than buying processed. And I'm hoping eventually as they sort of settle in and, move up the career ladders or whatever they're going to be doing, that they can start buying organic stuff as well. But already they're doing a lot better than a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because they're cooking for themselves.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
But
it's sad that's the anomaly is cooking whole foods and fresh foods.
Yeah. Yeah. And also too, it's funny because society, if you eat what society's telling you to eat, it's all these carbs and all these, empty carbs and all these things, you find yourself being so much more hungry.
Yes.
Right? Whereas if you have good protein and, you have good quality food, you're not as hungry. You don't need a lot, honestly. You really don't. And so you'll actually end up eating less if you eat good quality, and especially with protein. Actually, that's a huge thing that people are lacking is people are not eating enough protein.
No.
And, it's so funny. There's such an attack on meat, particularly. But you actually get so many vitamins and minerals from meat. So many.
absolutely. People said to me like, oh, what have you got for your lunch? I've got a salad. And so they just picture green leaves. Yeah, there's green leaves in my salad, there really is. But there's also red peppers, carrots, 2 hard-boiled eggs, some mackerel or some other cooked meat, and a small portion of cheese.
Yeah.
I'm cramming as much protein in there as I
Protein.
can, but it's still a salad.
Yeah. Protein, fat,
It's funny.
It's good things.
When we traveled to Japan for a conference last year, a lot of the breakfasts were like breads, little croissants or something. And Danielle and I are like, we need eggs.
Yeah.
So the only
bread.
place we could find that we knew we could get eggs, there was a Denny's across from our hotel. And we're like, not necessarily our particular choice to eat, but we know we can get some eggs there and some bacon or something protein wise. So,
I don't really eat bread very often. Rarely, but it's like, in Japan, it was funny. Every morning it was like this type of toast or this type of toast. It was just like, I don't want that.
No.
I would just find myself eating the thing on top of the toast, but not really the toast.
Yeah. I bought in the last shop because I've had somebody staying with me for a few days. And, I don't want to necessarily enforce on them only what I eat, even though they're wonderful and they've got, they enjoy what I like as well. But I bought some bread and I just thought, what am I going to buy in? I'm scouring them. Right. That's organic. It's a sourdough. And it's solid. And you only need half a slice. And I think, I can cope with that. And then, I probably won't buy a bread again for another month or so.
Yeah. I don't have it at my house.
No. Because it's an easy default to, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is the empty carbs.
Exactly. And that's what our society tends to push as well, So, it's not just, having the energy, having the correct information, but it's like, what are you putting in your system?
Yeah. Because that's got to muck up because it's all about, that will cause a massive insulin release, won't it? Which is a high and a crash, which must affect the frequency and the energy of the body hugely.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you're doing that to yourself multiple times a day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it works both ways. It's interesting
It's all
because
connected.
yeah, because you can get inflammation from the chemical process, right? Because we have so many things that are attacking our system in a chemical way. But also, if you don't have proper voltage in your cells, well, the voltage is what controls that membrane around the cell.
It is, yeah.
Right? So if it doesn't have that proper charge, then that membrane gets thicker. Oxygen and nutrients can't get in, waste can't get out. That's inflammation, right? So inflammation can come both ways. You need the proper energy, but also we need to mitigate all of the things in our environment that are inflaming us. There's so much nowadays.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's a journey, isn't it?
It really is.
Yeah. It's a lot to learn. And it can be overwhelming for some people at times, but it's one thing at a time.
Yeah.
It's I always say, it's like, how do you eat an elephant? Just one bite at a time.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yes. It's great, isn't it? And it's one person at a time, isn't it? As, who opens their eyes. And then, like you were saying about friends earlier, people will move in and out of your life according to what you and they tolerate, believe, accept. And that happens with the way you bring up your kids and yada, yada. We'll get there eventually.
We'll get there. We'll get there. If my father, who is, in his 70s, is finally getting on board, like, it was funny. He started not wearing his deodorant. My mom's like, why are you? He's like, there's aluminum in it. And she's like, so he's finally coming down the pathway where he's like, he's going to a naturopathic doctor now. He's not wearing, deodorant that has aluminum in it. He's more conscious of what he's putting in his body. He's doing, and he's in his 70s. So, hey, if he can do it,
anybody
can do it.
Can.
Yeah.
It's never too late.
Yeah.
No.
And he was a redhead before I stole it. So we're pretty hard-headed, So yeah. So if he can do it, anybody can do it.
Which is a really good testament, is it? And I mean, it's got to help him feel better.
Yeah.
And when you get to your 70s, anything that makes you feel better has got to be good, surely, as long as it's good for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. This has been amazing. I'm so happy to have you both here. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
This was so much fun.
Yeah, it was a pleasure coming, and I'm so glad that we got to take time to do this with you. So.
Oh, no, it's amazing. And this is the furthest up north you've been in the UK, you said?
Yes. Yeah, I've never been this far up north. So now I'm inspired because of how easy it was to get here.
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have no idea where I'm at, actually. Danielle's like, we're going here. I'm like, sure. That's usually how it works. She's like, we're going to London. I'm like, okay.
And now you're pretty much in the middle of England.
Perfect.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah. Well, you have to come and stay and go and explore further.
Will do.
Yeah.
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us, Dr. Debs. We appreciate you.